Hi there and welcome to another episode of Redlands Coast TV. Now, wetlands are one of my favourite environments, and the Redlands Coast has some spectacular and significant areas to explore. This is Jeff Skinner Wetlands Reserve at Wellington Point. It's a naturally wild sanctuary that protects hundreds of species. In fact, these wetlands are recognised globally and are part of the Moreton Bay Ramsar site. I love it out here, Cheryl. It's such a huge expanse and you don't realise until you're amongst it just how big this reserve is. Why is this environment so special?
Well, Stacey, this is one of our larger coastal wetland areas in the Redlands, and it's where you'll find mangroves and salt marshes. So they provide a great link between the land and the sea, helping to protect the land from storm surges, as well as protecting the ocean and the coast from our water runoff from the urban areas.
So it does play a vital role and it's really important to protect, but there's also a lot of wildlife that this provides habitat for.
Sure does. It provides habitat for fish and crustacean species.
So it's kind of like a nursery ground as well. And what about the birds? Because every year some very important visitors arrive, right?
That's right. So we do have some resident shorebirds as well, but each year between September and October we get additional migratory shorebirds that travel from the northern hemisphere down here to feed and roost.
And sometimes they're way out, but we have to make sure that we don't disturb them because they are kind of regaining their energy because they've had such a long journey.
That's right. Some travel over 13,000 kilometres to get here, so they need a bit of peace and quiet when they're here.
I can totally understand. What about the bushland? There's lots of animals that live there too.
Yes, there is. So we've got adjacent bushland to this reserve where you'll often find a koala peeking down at you.
This is simple but super effective. This bird hide at Wellington Point allows us to take a sneak peek into the daily lives of the birds that are living and feeding out there on the salt marsh. And I tell you what, once you start bird watching, it's pretty easy to get hooked. Let me just say, I reckon mangroves are sometimes misunderstood as muddy, even smelly places. But there's so many positive things to appreciate about these unique coastal communities. I'm such a fan of mangroves because they're obviously very muddy, as we can see from our boots, and it's just, you never know what's going to happen, and usually, just like what almost happened, you can get stuck in the mud. But you know, it's a good way to get up close and personal, to appreciate them. What do you love so much about mangroves, Cheryl?
Well, yes, good thing we did wear our gumboots today, Stacey, but one of the things I love about mangroves is the adaptations that they have to help them survive in such a harsh environment.
I mean, really, what other plants and big, like forests of mangroves can live, you know, with the tide coming in, going out, so salty. So what are a couple of your favourite adaptations?
One of my favourites is the leaves, where the mangroves will secrete the salt through their leaves, and you'll be able to see,
there's like
some little bits of
fine
salt
there. I'll just have a little.
Oh.
It is. It's actually salt. It's not so bad, it's sea salt. What else? What about all of these beautiful roots?
So you'll see the aerial roots coming up. They're the pneumatophores, so they help the plants to breathe.
If you've never really looked closely and discovered one of these amazing areas on the Redlands coast, I highly recommend it. Make sure you check out the website for more details.